What's up, guys? Looking to create a new account with William Hill? For the first $50 you deposit, you receive a $150 bonus bet or have your initial deposit matched. Inbox me for details.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am here with one of my actual favourite players in the NRL. Looking at your career, I'm so appreciative of how far you've come. Jimmy Maloney, what's going on, brother?
Not a lot, mate. Just enjoying the break, almost Chrissy time and New Year's, and then back into training early in the new year. So, had a bit of time away with the family recently, actually. Just got back on Tuesday from Singapore. That was really good, and enjoying the time off because, it's a long year coming up.
Mate, your last, 6 months, you had one of the longest streaks in NRL history with the Sharks, 15 wins, 15, and then it was 16th that you draw.
Yeah, I think so, yep.
And then you win the GF, and then you make the Australian side for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, where are you mentally at right now? Are you feeling like, not content, but you're like, where's your head at now?
Yeah, it's funny. I was, the Aussie selection sort of got me by surprise. It was something I never really thought I'd do. Probably I'm 30 now and a bit older, and I thought, I was stoked that I'd had the opportunity to play State of Origin and things like that, and it was something I just never thought would happen, and I was happy with that. It wasn't something I was like, oh, geez, I wish I had played for Australia. It was something that sat fine with me, and then to get the call up was awesome, and a massive shock, and I got pretty pumped, and went over, had a wicked tour with the boys. It was so fun, and got to play 2 games, and awesome. So it's sort of, I don't know that it's all sunk in completely. I still sort of look back and think, geez, that's pretty cool. Like, I've played for my country, and
first tour overseas too, like, sick,
100%.
with the boys, like
first time in London and all that. Got around, we travelled around, so we did spent some time in Liverpool, Manchester, London, Birmingham. We got a couple of days off, and the boys shot over to Barcelona.
Barcelona, a few wines.
One of the great nights in Barcelona.
That'd have been sick. Who was MVP on that night?
I don't know, actually. I think a lot of boys were enjoying themselves. A lot. So look, really good fun, and I suppose now it's it seems. Actually, said to the wife the other day after coming back from a 12-night holiday with them, all that seems so long ago now. So it's look good. I'm looking forward to a good Chrissy break, and excited to get back and see the boys. So got a couple of really good mates that have just signed for the coming season. So looking forward to
Big Latsy.
Latsy and Daniel Mortimer as well. So
really? Okay.
Really really close with both those boys. So it's it's good to have them at the club now.
And, the thing that as I was saying, love about your career is it's been a very steady, strong progression. You were 21 years old when you first joined the Eels. So it's not like, you get these young guns coming through. You look at like a young Cleary, and like they're 18 years old and they're getting talked about like for this selection, that Moses and that. They're going so good. Whereas you've really had to work and really essentially work on your craft. Is that been something that you... I guess when you hit these pinnacles of your career of winning the GF for the second time and making Australia, do you look back and go, all that hard work has really been worth it?
Yeah, it does, and it has been a progression. I didn't come down to Sydney. I was up Central Coast playing in the Jim Beam Cup at the time. Then when I was at school at 18, it wasn't until for my last year of Jersey Flag in the under-20s, I came down, just me and I think there were 5 or 6 of my mates. We come down to North Sydney for the open trials. Just anyone rock up. And
open trials?
Yeah, just rocked up to there and played a bit of footy, and we ended up, about 4 or 5 of us ended up playing for North that year. And played the first half of the season in the 20s, and then got pulled up to Premier League and finished there. And it sort of wasn't until then. I think Greg Florimo spoke to me and sort of said, "Do you have a manager?" And that I said, "No, look, never. Never had anything to do with any of that stuff." And he said, "Mate, I reckon you should get one." And then did the deal with Parramatta over there. I still remember my first Parramatta contract was $12,500
Really?
Yeah.
Bro, that's big. Mine was $4
Well,
grand.
that-
Mine was $4 grand.
I had that, and I had free. Like I lived in the units near the stadium, so I had free accommodation.
Bro, you're living the dream back then. That's the dream back then.
For 12.5 grand, I used to work 20 hours a week at the stadium.
Yep.
So that'd pick me up about $250, and I think out of the 12 grand, I think I got about $250 a week or whatever. And I could go out and get on the drink 3 nights a week for that. So I don't know how I did it, but it was awesome. It was good times, and it seems a long time ago, but obviously progressed then to Melbourne. Got my debut there. I think I was 23 when I debuted.
Yep.
Down in Melbourne.
Round 4.
And then
I think round 4.
Yeah, around 4 or 5 or something like that. 2009.
2009.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then.
But you won the 2008 New South Wales Cup.
Yeah,
Premiership
with
as well.
Wentworthville.
Yep.
Yeah, when we were at Parramatta, and and then I just debuted in Melbourne, and then Brett Finch had the fallout with Parramatta and signed down there. So that I played 2 games. I played the next week, and then Finchy came in. So that sort of
and you left the Eels to come
career.
to
Yeah. So
Finchy, what are you doing,
he followed
bro?
me and crippled me. But, no, it was good, and learned a lot down there. Had a really good 12 months in Melbourne.
Did you do the traditional have to work full-time job and train?
No, I didn't. So Beliak did it, but I think that's more. He does it more for the guys that have never had to work. The guys you're talking about that come straight from school and have played. I finished working. I was doing a carpentry apprenticeship and working in that when I was travelling down to North Sydney and stuff like that. So I was a little bit different and didn't have to do that. But
thank God.
Yeah, the boys didn't like it too much. She was a bit tough. Did an army camp down there, which was probably worse. But
mate, those army camps, I've done I think 4 of them.
Oh, true.
Mate, they mentally scar you.
Mate,
I'm scarred. I'm fucking scarred.
I tell you, they're very hard and that, but there always seems to be some really good stories come out of them. Yep. Like when you catch up with boys, there's always.
So walk us through the Storm one. How did it come about? Did you know about it? Was it a surprise one? Because we got surprised with a couple of them.
Yeah, we sort of knew it was coming because the boys had been surprised. The older boys had done them. They reckon their first one they ever did was they turned up and. Was like, we're going on a camp down there. Yep. Yeah, bring your golf clubs, bring your surfboards. Beautiful. It's all so the boys have all rocked in. Yep. With their boards and thinking this is going to be the mad trip, and then it was, nah, boys, these guys come in, drill sergeants, get out, push ups, all the work. Yep. So, yeah, they sort of knew. We got the heads up off guys like Whitey and stuff like that. Give us a heads up that it was coming. But still didn't make it any easier. I don't think.
You can never put into words how tough it is. Like you could sit here and say this, and it was like this, and we didn't sleep for 2 days, and we only had protein bars. But the words never really encompass how tough it is because you're actually enduring it hour after hour after hour, and you're like, is this ever gonna end?
Yeah, 100%, and it. Yeah, it's I think it's just different to what we're used to. You know what I mean? You think. For someone, I suppose, who's probably in the army environment or something, it's what they do. It's like their thing. But for us, we're not used to the grinding slug of constant stuff. We sort of we're high intensity and out. She gets a bit tempers flare a little bit.
Yeah, what was the toughest bit for you? In that Melbourne store? Where'd you go? Did you go the Stenson?
I don't know where it was. We're out. So we went to Brighton or something beach and got hammered there on the dunes and in the water and all this, and went on a bus out somewhere down there. And I remember the first night they just do all these things just to mind fuck you basically. But I remember you go there and it's getting dark on the first night and they go, okay, look, we're gonna set up camp. You go in and you think, oh yeah, I need to make sure I set up this mad thing. So you tie all your tarps up and all stuff like that, and you come back all done. They go, you got 10 minutes or 15 minutes to do that. Yeah. You do it all, you think you're all good, and they come back and they say, look, I don't think this is a safe area for you to sleep. And you've got 3 minutes or something ridiculous to get it all down. You can't cut your ropes or whatever, because if you leave any rubbish or something, it's penalties. And so it's just setting you up for failure, basically, just to mess with your head. And they're just killers when you've had no sleep.
I
when
love
you're
how
exhausted.
they use those excuses of like, oh, it's not a safe place, as if you're really in the army and it really is like you're out in Baghdad or something like that. Like they're like, guys,
I'd be happy to sleep there, no worries at all.
Mate, I'm safe. I'm safe. I feel safe. I'm sweet. I'll just stay.
100%.
We got woken up in the first army camp we did was the same thing.
Yeah.
I actually wasn't in the first grade squad. I was in reserve grade. This is 2005. Going into the 2006 season, and I got a call because Brett Seymour's shoulder was busted.
Yeah.
I got a call saying, you've been invited to the first grade away trip. It's going to be bonding, sunny coast, bring your boardies. I'm with me mates going, this is fucking sick, I'm going to first grade. Like that feeling of like getting to meet the first graders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Rock up, first time I meet the first graders, and it was exactly like that. Get outside, get in your undies. And we got like Sean Berrigan and that sitting around going, what's going on here? Taking the piss out of the sergeants. 6 days later, they actually woke us up with stun grenades one night.
Oh, gee.
They threw stun grenades at us. So this is like 2005 going into 2006 season. Blokes lost like 12 to 15 kilos.
Yeah.
We had to kill chickens to eat. Like it was like the most hectic thing. 6 days, man. 6 days.
Yeah.
So the pain is definitely like it's real. But you know what? Like if you get through that, you get through anything. I reckon. Like
I think so. I think that's why they do it. It's more it's not necessarily the physical thing, but it's the mental. They sort of see how guys react under duress, I suppose, and things like that.
I reckon it's cool seeing some guys surprise you. You're like, fuck, this guy's like, I thought he was not like that, but he actually is pretty mentally tough. Like some guys really do surprise you.
100%. And I think, as I said, that's why they use it. It brings out different sides of people. And
some of the tough stuff.
Yeah.
We had Hodjo in the back of a truck refusing to move. Like
I've heard the story about Hodjo on an army camp where they said, they go, nah, mate, I'm out, and he was
bringing
left.
boys with him. He needed.
They reckon he'd come back about half an hour reeking of cigarettes, and they talked him back into it.
Yeah, he was like recruiting all day, man. Like saying, come on, boys, they can't do it. They can't treat us like this. They're treating us like dogs, and like just recruiting an army of boys
to go with him.
The white flag and go to the highway, the Sunny Coast Highway, and essentially it was. I think he just needed to smoke, man. It was sweet, and after that, he was all good. So the fucking army camps. But okay, so 2000 what prompted the trial to go to North Sydney Bears? What prompted that? Was it just you love footy and you'd love to be a part of it? Because you've had to work hard to get where you are. So were you a naturally gifted guy going up, or you were just one of those toilers that just worked really hard kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd always had probably the knack. I've probably never, been one of the guys to do all the extras and all the extra training. Probably still not, A lot of people sort of probably say that I'm not the best trainer, but I think I was 18 last year at year 12 at school, and I was playing in the Jim Beam Cup, which was with a Rimba. We had 4 of the Central Coast teams coming down playing against sort of Wentworthville, Sydney Bulls, Cabramatta, all that sort of competition. So I was 18 playing against, full grown man and stuff like that. And I think that sort of opened, and it was always, I suppose the dream to come and play NRL. So, didn't play it, didn't get selected or go to any of the, the 16s, the SG Balls, the Harold Mats,
so
any
you
of that
didn't get
sort of
selected
thing.
in any of that?
Nah.
Did you make state or anything for school? Or?
Nah, never did that sort of thing. So, so that probably, limited going down. So, I was back up the coast playing, and as I said, got to, the first grade up there, and sort of wanted to try and get to Sydney, and that seemed sort of the easy in, I suppose, especially, North Sydney at the time, it didn't have a
feeder club,
a direct link to a first grade side.
So it was a bit easier to kind of turn up and do it.
They traditionally weren't as strong and things like that. So they were probably more of a chance of getting in that sort of system anyway, and playing against the guys. So think that was the probably the idea around it, and had quite a few mates up there, and we all went down and played together, and had a really good time.
And so you go to the Eels, you win the New South Wales Cup Premiership 2009, you get selected to New South Wales Cup Team of the Year. Was that when you were starting to think, well, I'm in the system now, I'm ready to go, I think I can be a first grader kind of thing, or was it before then?
Yeah, I thought I could. Obviously the opportunity at Parramatta was something new. That was at a proper. First year I went there, I went full time, over pre-season and trained with all the first grade boys and started to understand, what you need to do and how it all worked. And I think that was 2007, my first year at Para, and about 9 games in or something, I did my ankle playing at Brookvale and missed the rest of that year. And sort of that was my first serious injury I'd ever had, and sort of stuffed around with the rehab a little bit. Turned 21 that year. I remember going to my 21st in the space boot.
Yep.
And went out the night before, and they wouldn't let me in one of the joints, so I jumped the fence around the back, and I was in there.
It's not like you're not conspicuous. You got to move.
Yeah, getting around, and anyway, woke up the next day. The ankle was a bit swollen.
Oh my god!
She pushed the rehab back a little bit, and so probably wasn't mentally ready for the the injury side of it and that side of footy. I remember living in the units, and I couldn't really train, so I'd turn up, and the trainer would put me on the rower. I'd do one leg, and I'd have a board that when me leg just slid, so I'm doing one leg rower, just getting flogged, and I was like, this is the pitch, what am I doing? I can't play for the rest of the year, so I wouldn't go back for 2 weeks, and then I go back in 2 weeks, I get flogged again, and I go, mate, this is G up. So I had a bit thing, and the next year I didn't train full time with the first grade squad. Trained just with Wentworthville, and played some trials, and got brought up after my first trial. Got brought up to the first grade trial the next week, and I think at that point I felt I was playing as good as I sort of could in reserve grade. I didn't know what else I could do. To get a shot. I had a couple of times I was on standby. When I think Finchy played country 1 year, and if he couldn't back up or whatever, I would have played and things like that. So I was close a couple of times and missed out. And then the opportunity, I was off contract. The opportunity come up at Melbourne, and I remember Michael Hagan saying, he wanted to keep me there, and he basically said, mate, you'll be playing first grade next year. But I just sort of felt like, rightly or wrongly, I don't know, but I sort of felt like, I couldn't have done any more to have got a shot. So the opportunity in Melbourne came up, and I remember talking to my dad and about it. That was when they had Greg Inglis playing at 5'8", because they didn't really have another half, and so there was a possible spot there. And I remember my dad just saying, he said, there's not many footballers that go to Melbourne and leave worse off than what they got there, in terms of learning about football and improving. So it became a easy decision. I went down there, and things sort of started to take off then.
I was going to ask you then, it seems like you had all the natural ability, but it was training that probably held you back those first few years. And then you went to a renowned club that the discipline, if you don't put in, they just brush out. Like, it's like literally like, so it's one of the most disciplined clubs in the NRL.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a conscious decision of like, you know what, I'm going to put my head down here and have a crack, or do you think it was more just like, it's the Melbourne Storm, they're one of the best teams in the comp, I want to be a part of that? Yeah,
I think that side of it, the fact that I knew I would improve as a player.
Yeah.
That was one of the draw cards. Obviously, Craig Bellamy, who was a big draw card. And then I think that probably I got through pre-season there. It was probably the toughest pre-season I've ever done.
Yep.
down there it was obviously, as you said, very disciplined, a lot of running. They really test you, and
no shortcuts. Like they're always there. Like especially at the Broncos too. Like some clubs, and it's all changed now because of science. But some clubs will like let players run at 80% a lot of the time, whereas like clubs like the Storm and Melbourne, they're always redlining you. Yeah, they're always pushing you on that edge of where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, they put you on runs, and the times are ridiculous. And it's always first effort's your best effort, and then you just back up as best you can, as they sort of cruising through and smashing the last run.
I hate that.
The old last run heroes.
Last run heroes should be sacked on the spot. On the spot.
Yeah, there's none of that. So it was, and it was something I was always okay with. It wasn't that I, shied away from the hard training or whatever, but anything on the side. And I think probably, when I was younger, I probably just enjoyed. I was happy. It was just me. I was happy to sort of going around playing footy, going for beers with the boys through the week, and that sort of side of it. And I think it sort of all clicked a little bit. I went down. My wife moved down to Melbourne. My now wife, I moved her down to Melbourne, and she fell pregnant when we were in Melbourne, and the opportunity came up at the Warriors.
Yep.
And that's when I think the Warriors was a big move, because I knew at the time, if I went over there and ended up sitting in reserve grade, then you're out of sight, out of mind, like that could be stumps, it should be all over. But if I go there and it's full-time first grade and I can play and start, and then I think, obviously having a bubble on the way, it sort of hit home. It wasn't just about me. I had to provide for, for people now and things like that. So I think that sort of hit home that it needed to get serious, or I needed to just sort of give it away and start working and do that, because it wasn't just me anymore. I couldn't just float around and do what I was happy to do. So I think that settled me down and put me on the right track as well.
So do you think, because when you 2000 before you went to the Warriors, you actually had quite a few clubs that were interesting to you from what I remember and what I'm reading. Do you think it was an intentional decision? Because it's like you're choosing the hardest possible situation to bring the best out of. Do you know what I mean? Like going to New Zealand is the toughest thing you could have chosen to do, but I feel like it's like a subconscious, intentional thing to do to make sure you know what I mean? You're putting that pressure on yourself.
I think at the time it wasn't then that I didn't have a whole lot of options, because I remember me manager Beaver called me up, and because he was looking around, I remember him sort of saying Tigers. He had a call. He said maybe Tigers are an option, blah blah blah, and then he called me back and he said, "Mate, got your gig at the Warriors." I said, "Mate, are you taking the piss? Come on, mate. What's going on?" Okay, mate, keep looking. Surely,
Oh, really?
I'd only ever been to the Warriors for to play reserve grade or whatever, and you fly in.
Oh man.
You can't sleep. You're playing this torture joint. You don't see anything. You fly out. So I never see much about it, and he sort of said to me, he said, "Mate, it's full-time first grade, then need you blah blah. This is what you need to do." And so then that, as I said, that became pretty important to make sure I established myself there. And it was probably the second year we made the semis, got knocked out by the Titans in the semis that first year, and then the second year we had we ran to the grand final, and that was when I had an option. Club had an option in their favour to sign me for a third year.
I thought it was your option.
So it was there. So that through that, the year of the grand final, 2011, we started talking, and I actually thought I might end up there long term. We loved it over there.
It's not a bad place, eh?
Nah, we really enjoyed it. Very laid back. It's we enjoyed it over there, and we started talking. I thought, okay, they wanted to extend, and I thought, it might be, we started looking at houses and, buying a place and extending. And as it went on, I sort of put, the talks on hold as we started getting towards the back end. I said, look, we don't worry about that. Let's worry about footy. We'll sort out at the end of it. And then by the end of that run, I actually come back and there was just interest everywhere back home, and probably better money back home, as well as the opportunity to be closer to family, especially with the kids. We had 2 now because Layla was born over there.
Yep.
So
she's a Kiwi.
Yeah, she is. She's on Kiwi passport and all
Oh,
that. So,
wow.
yeah, so if she ever be punished, we can just disown her a little bit.
Offload it to New Zealand.
Yeah, so that sort of become a draw card, and then that was probably when I had a lot of interest, and decided to go to the Roosters after that.
Oh wow, okay. So even after winning, your premiership in New South Wales Cup, working hard at the Storm, you played 4 or 5 games that year, 4 games. So like, even after then, it was still, because like nowadays, if that was the case in your half, you'll probably be getting quite a fair bit of interest. You look at the Dragons half that just won the premiership. Like, we all know about him. Like, well, I do, following the sport. There's a bit of hype around him. Clubs are interested. Okay, so that year with the Warriors, what was that like for you personally? Was that it seems like it was your growing year where you're like, you really found yourself as a footy player kind of thing. 188 points, 10 tries, grand final. What was it like for you? That's the second year. Sorry,
it was good. As I said, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the way, the style they played. I liked playing under Ivan Cleary. I thought he was really good, and that was probably learned a little bit with Brett Seymour when he was there. Obviously, he was quite experienced when I first went there, and towards that second year, that was when Shawnee was coming through, and probably had a bit more responsibility then, because I became, even though I was still quite new and young to it, I was sort of the senior guy, and I got to play with a guy with brilliant talent like Shawnee, and
ridiculous,
and sort of try and guide him a little bit and show him things, and free him up to do his sort of stuff and organise a team and stuff like that. And it was good. It was we went on a really good run. It's sort of, looking back, I've never actually watched the grand final again.
Oh wow.
Ever again, the one we lost. I've never actually seen the 2 we won either. Never looked at.
Oh really? Why is that?
I don't know. I've had intentions to, and never got around.
Never got around to it.
So
what are you doing?
So I've never done. But yeah, look, I had really good times there. And
what's something that stands out to you, that Warriors experience? What's something you remember strongly? Maybe even that Warriors grand final that you remember strongly.
Yeah, I still remember how some of the tries were scored to beat us. That's still etched in the memory. I still remember the feeling at the full time siren.
Yep.
After you lost, so I remember that. That's hard to get rid of.
Yep.
But yeah, I had that many good times over there. Like the boys, I think the Kiwi culture, all the Kiwi boys, they're so family based, and I think it was a perfect place for me to go, just having kids and things like that. Because a lot of the boys over there, they have kids young as well, and all that sort of stuff. So probably didn't turn up to training on Monday and hear all the stories about everyone going out and oh damn, missing out sort of thing.
That's true.
Everyone was a bit different over there and a lot more family based.
That's so true, man. I didn't even I didn't even think when I was over there. I didn't even realise that. But you're 100% right. It wasn't Monday morning. What did you do, young boys? Like, did you just get any chicks?
Yeah. It was a bit different, and I think that was good. They're very welcoming, very very generous people and things like that. So it just made the experience all the more better, for the family, and learn a lot off some senior guys. I think learn a lot off guys like Michael Luck.
Oh man, so tough.
The influence he had over there was phenomenal, and Simon Mannering, and guys through there that have done quite a lot, and probably not the biggest names in that, but they're, especially over there, very very well respected, and you learn a bit off them.
100%, and they just like go about their job. They no carry on, nothing on. It's just literally get the job done kind of thing. Especially Luck, man. He just would never stop. Literally never stop. Nah. And the nicest bloke ever. Was Jerome Rapati there when you were there?
Yeah, Jerome was. Yeah,
he's the nicest bloke ever too.
Yeah, one of the real nice guys. Injury, but I remember talking to him. He he brought up he was playing his 10th year of first grade, and he was about 150 games. He'd averaged about half a season for the 10 years with his injuries and poor fella.
Because he was so talented, man. When he was on, bro, he was
good.
He was making like 200 meters a game, man. Did you remember playing us in 2010 at Suncorp, round 3?
2010.
You probably wouldn't have. I broke my ribs and my lung collapsed, and Jerome did it.
Oh, true.
Yeah, so I broke 6 ribs, 1 snapped in half, and 1 of my lungs collapsed.
Yeah,
Put me out for the season, but
fair
it was
shot.
Jerome. Hey,
That's a fair shot.
oh, bro, because I was trying to get a quick play ball, was like kind of broke through the tackle-ish and was like going to fall on fall on my front like that with my hands, like the ball in my hand, and he came across, missed me with his shoulder and his knee. Boom.
Oh, yeah, right.
Man, it was so painful. Okay, so you decide to come to the Roosters, and I mean, that Roosters side was ridiculous. Like, so when you were coming into that side, because like we look at you now, and like you're Jimmy Maloney, you've won a few premierships, you're an established player, but back then you're at the Warriors, so you've still got a fair bit to prove. You know what I mean? Coming to the Roosters, you've still got a fair bit to prove because Warriors are so isolated to Australia. You don't really hear about everything that's What was that like for you coming into the Roosters like that, in that side?
Yeah, it probably worked out perfect because obviously there's a bit of a song and dance because I signed over 12 months in advance. So I signed to come back, and I still had to play out my last year at the Warriors. So that caused a bit of a stir at the time, and probably missed a lot of it because we were over there. So
you're lucky.
it was sort of away. But I think at the time I sort of knew they were looking at getting Sonny, that he was a chance to come, and I thought they'd had, the year before I went there, they'd had a pretty dour year. They hadn't performed that well, but I knew the roster and the quality players they had there, so it was something I knew I was coming into a good forward pack, which obviously as a half is a prerequisite of what you need to play good footy. So that obviously coming off a good pack at the Warriors, I wanted to play behind a really strong pack, and I think at the time I sort of came as a reasonably big signing, but then they signed Sonny, Bill and Jenko after me, and it was perfect because I didn't, as the new signings that come with heaps of pressure and expectation, I just become, another guy, and it was perfect. So
that's so true.
Yeah, it was Jenko and Sonny took all the pressure, the hype and all that, and I just slid in and was able to do my bit. So it worked really good, and it was awesome to have Trent Robinson there. I think he probably. I probably learnt more off him than anyone in my career over the 3 years. About footy, and probably a little bit older, I was able to probably knew a little bit about my own game and about footy myself, and could sort of talk to him about different ideas, and definitely a really smart and astute sort of knowledgeable bloke about the game.
Okay, so you can kind of bounce ideas off him and come together with footy knowledge and kind of work out where he's wanted to be, kind of thing. Have a good relationship like him with that.
Really good. He's probably I think a lot of coaches these days can overcoach players and take a lot of players' natural ability and tendencies away from them by trying to coach them a certain way, and
one size fits all for the whole team. You have to be like this.
I think Robbo was always really good at if you did something, or went a play and it didn't work or something, and you're reviewing it wasn't, mate, you can't do that. It was more, okay, what were you seeing? Like, why did you go down there, and why did you do that? And you'd be like, oh, well, this is what I was thinking. I thought this, and he'd be like, okay, yeah, sweet. And then he might give you another perspective of things to look at, and it'd go like that, but you'd never sort of be dragged over the coals for. That's really interesting. Go. It was I suppose a breath of fresh air, and I think it's why he's got such a good rapport, and the players like playing for him so much, because he he's got a real good rapport with the players, and
Yeah.
he is really knowledgeable about the game.
Because it sounds like it's a collaboration. Like, let's work together right now to find out what is the best outcome for this situation. If you can explain why it was on, and it sounds better than what I've got, then that's what it. So that's kind of what it was like. His approach was.
Yeah, definitely right.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
You know, I think he understood players' strengths and weaknesses, and you know, we play to our strengths and what we do well.
And you know, being an Origin pairing with a guy like Pearce, what was that like for you? Being with an Origin player like Pearce, being a halves partner, what was that? Was that a really, because you know, originally at the Warriors, you would have been the guy that kind of set things up for Sean Johnson to do his thing.
Yeah.
But your players kind of shifted a bit now. You've become, you know what I mean, the ball runner a bit.
Yeah.
Was that when it happened kind of thing for you, or was it a bit later when you come to the Sharks?
Yeah, no, a little bit. That's you know, the ball running probably worked a little bit, especially at the Warriors. When Folletti got there, me and Folletti, you know, struck up a really good combination running off him, and you know, we had a bit of success there. And I think when we got back, I remember talking with Robbo, and he basically said, I think with the thing I see, you know, Junior as, you know, the halfback, you know, as the running 5'8", and you know, that's how we set up the footy a lot. That I tended to get it 2 passes wider and play there, and Piercy would play around the ruck a bit more. And that was good. It worked really well. I love playing with Piercy. I'd always had a high opinion of him playing against him. Yeah. And always liked the type of player he was. So that was also, I suppose, when I'm picking a place, that was another draw card to play alongside him.
And making Origin 2013, Game 1. I mean, what was that like? Just a young kid from Orange?
Yeah, born in Orange, yeah.
Born in Orange?
Yeah.
Mate, what was the phone call like? Was it expected? Was it a shock? What was it like for you?
Yeah, well, there was a bit of talk. Obviously, Origin talk starts really early.
Probably already started. It's already started now. Actually, it has. I seen an article. Mitch Moses and Luke Brooks putting forward their name for Origin.
Oh, okay.
Yesterday. That was an article yesterday.
Yeah,
it's already gone.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous, the old Origin chat, and it starts so early. So obviously, as it was building up, my name was getting mentioned a little bit, and I'd sort of been mentioned, or I got a call off Ricky Stewart when I was at the Warriors the year before, telling me I was in the picture and that never come through. But so I sort of, you know, I'd had that phone call before saying I was there or thereabouts, and my name was getting thrown up a little bit, and so I sort of had an inkling that it might have happened. And I remember after the final game when I first got told, I knew for definite. I had actually a few people tell me, like, I've heard you're in and that, but until you definitely know, you're sort of not sure. So I remember we played the game before it got picked, and we were back at the Leagues Club, and Robbo said to me something about enjoy the week. I said, do you know that I'm in? And he said, yeah, you're in. And I was like, yeah, I was pumped.
What's that feeling like, bro? What's that feeling like?
Yeah, I was pumped. Like, it was, you know, Origin it's such a, you know, an awesome event. It's such a massive game, so much at stake. And, you know, I remember going down with mates in high school. You know, we'd leave school and catch the train down to go watch Origin on Wednesday, and you know, to think that, mate, you're playing
on the field, you're someone other kids watching you.
It was awesome, and as I said, just over the moon when that all happened, and it was nice, I suppose, to have Piercy there. You know, and have a familiar face when I, you know, went into that arena for the first time.
Do you know that you're the first ever 5'8" on debut, to win an Origin game in for New South Wales?
I did know that.
Did you know it? There's a bit of pub ammo for you.
Someone told me that. So
that's some pub ammo for
it's a bit of a jout. You can use that as a jout, isn't it? Freddie couldn't do it. Loss couldn't do it. All the
Jimmy
couldn't do it. Jimmy. But it just would have been nice if we had won the series. But that's probably the one thing I would still like to tick off, I suppose, is make sure we win a
series.
Origin series.
Yeah, my pub ammo is most ever meters in a debut in the modern era of rugby league.
Oh, true.
Yeah, 277.
I think I actually had. What I have two with the Warriors squad most.
Goal kicker.
Oh yeah, and most points by an individual against the Broncos side ever.
Against the Broncos side?
Apparently it's got
Fuck, that hurts my heart, bro.
28 points
Fucking
against
hurts
Broncos.
my heart, bro.
One game. Yeah.
That's some pub ammo I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
Grandkids are going to hear that over and over and over again. That's your go-to.
That is. That's a go-to.
Every time, like, your grandkid does something mad, just be like, mate, I'm the first ever debutant, number 6, to win an Origin for New South Wales. Just knocking me down a peg. Okay, so yeah, what was the memory like for the grand final for the Roosters? I mean, that was a huge build up. I remember it so vividly. What was that like for you? Like, because you had this gun side and it was such a big game. I just remember it being a big game.
Yeah.
And you scored 10 points and everything. So it was a big game for yourself. What was that like for you? What's something that stands out for you in that week?
Yeah, I remember going into the week. I remember going into it, obviously being my second grand final. I'd lost, the previous one with the Warriors, and I still remember because I spoke about it when we with Flano and that when we went with Cronulla. I said the chalk and cheese, the build up weeks when we're at the Warriors, it was an absolute circus. Everyone was pumped. We had open fan days. Everyone was going nuts, and I think it becomes a distraction. It's hard to cope with. It's such a big thing, and I remember, the week leading into it against the Roosters was kept so normal that we minimised all the stuff we did. We didn't do open training sessions or any of that sort of stuff.
Okay.
We just did what we needed to do, and I suppose personally, I made sure I focused solely. I didn't look past the game and what it would be like if you win and that, because I think I probably did that with the Warriors. It's easy to get carried away and go, mate, if we win this, like this is going to be nuts. And you sort of lose sight of the 80 minutes, which needs to be your best 80 minutes of the season to win a game like that. So I remember personally that was a real conscious decision for myself, and we got there, and I remember dropping behind. I think we might have scored first or early. We got in front and then we fell behind. I think after half time they scored a couple of tries, and I remember the boys just there just saying, righto, this is it, this is what we've done all year, and
behind the try line,
we can do this. It's in our control, and we can control what happens here. And I remember the try that was it Skidsy scored, where Sonny got the tip, offloaded to me, went through past the mini over to Skids and scored. I remember Jenko's final try where he went flying and put it down just before the try line.
Crazy, man.
Miraculous sort of try. And that sort of, by the time that put us 8, once I kicked that goal, that was 8 points clear, with, I don't know, not long to go. And that's sort of when we sort of knew it was over. And just an amazing feeling, to win. There's so many. You still think now, having won 2, you think there's so many awesome players that never had the opportunity to win one.
Massively.
It's just an awesome event.
Hindmarsh gets smashed with it every time. It's constantly smashed with
still,
it.
I think it kills him, I think. Like
it's 100%
that one thing, just kills him.
Literally that one thing, and as a premiership. And it, like I guess you probably would say Origin is bigger, but that GF, because you're with those guys week in, week out, and obviously you move on and, you make new mates and all that kind of stuff. But in saying that, at that point in time of your life, you die for them. You do anything for your
100%.
mates.
And I think every side that wins a comp, you'll always find it's a very tight group.
Yep.
It just seems to be the way you can't sort of, do that and end up winning the comp unless the group is really tight. So,
because skill-wise, most teams are pretty similar. It's the group that is tight and believes in each other and is doing those 1%ers.
Yeah.
And your own performance in that try, setting up 2 tries, kicking few goals. Was that a dream performance in your mind? Like, do you remember it really, really fondly?
Yeah, I don't.
Or not really? You just
Yeah,
like
there's not a whole lot of the actual game. Like, there's moments in the game I remember.
Yep.
But as I said, I haven't actually watched it back again. I think I might have caught glimpses of it on over the next couple of days on Mad Monday, but I probably wasn't in the best state to remember it. So
you probably just like drunk out all the memories and out of your head.
So yeah, so I've got different memories and that. Yeah, so but the game itself, I remember I played all right. And I was happy with my game, but I think after a game like that, sort of individual performances are relevant.
Yeah, so true.
You go, mate. I'd happily if someone said going into grand final that you have to play the worst game of your career, but you'll win.
You don't care.
Or you play, the best game of your career.
So true.
Win a Clive Churchill saying a losing team.
That's true.
Mate, you'd go, mate, give me the shocker and let's win this comp.
100%.
Yeah, so.
And before we move on from the Roosters, Mitchell Pearce, he's thrown you under the bus. He said you're one of the worst roomies he's ever had because you snore.
I do snore some. I don't.
Is there any ammo back at him though?
There's plenty.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Is there any roomy ammo to throw back at Piercy? Because he's thrown you under the bus. Worst roomie.
He's pretty good. Piercy tends to take long showers when you room with him.
Okay, long showers.
So make of that what you will, but he spends a lot of time in the shower.
And he's not doing his hair.
No,
he's not doing his hair.
It doesn't take you that long to do that.
That's a scoop for you if I've ever heard one. Oh man, oh mate, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall for your room. The banter in there with Piercy would have been.
It was good. It was good fun, mate. We got on really good, and I did snore for him. I did. So I used to tell him, I said, mate, if I snore, just smack me with a pillow, and I'm just like, and just stop. So
he's giving you concussions before the GF.
But no, we had good times, mate. We were good roomies, so it was good.
Who's your best roomie to ever room with?
Room of thoughts. Yeah, but Piercy would probably be up
Is
there.
He up there?
Well, I'm just trying to think of, because me and Piercy were together basically all the time so we had 3 years.
Okay.
Pretty much together. With Chatty Townsend now. Chatty's alright.
Chatty'd be a good man because
he's just nice and quiet and clean and does his thing. I'll probably drive him mad.
Yep. That's when you're not in the penthouse, obviously, with your own room and stuff like that. Okay, so you decided to go to the Sharks after 2015. You decided to sign with the Sharks. 2015, you went to the Sharks.
2000 was it 13, 14, 15? Yeah. First year this year.
Yeah, first year this year.
Yeah.
And what was the motivating factor?
The Sharks sort of. Ideally, I wanted to stay at the Roosters. Obviously, after having a lot of success that we had. I think that year we had 9 guys off contract, and obviously boys all needed upgrades and things like that. And there was big offers for all different players coming everywhere. So knew at the start of the year that different guys weren't going to be able to stay, and end up being me, and that was fine. They had they signed the other guys, and it just couldn't work out.
I left with a lot of teams that have that much success.
Yeah, it does. It's the way the salary cap works. As soon as you start playing really well, then sides start picking players from your side, and big money that you can't match, that they got to leave, or you've got to spend more to keep them. And
the salary cap just comes into play. The salary cap does what it's supposed to do, and
exactly
that's,
right. So one side doesn't dominate for so long, and it become sort of apparent that I wasn't going to be able to stay. So
was that hard to take a little bit?
It was. I loved my time there. I still keep in contact with all the boys. Still catch up with them regularly. Still catch up with some of the staff and that from there. Have really good relationships with them, and loved my time there, and thought I would have been able to stay for a long time, and then it just went the other way. So that was all good. I left on really good terms. There's no hard feelings between us, and once I knew I couldn't be at the Roosters, Sharks was my next was the
Oh,
place
really?
I
So
wanted to go.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
it was great that I was able to sort that out because it's been a really good move, and obviously more
Worked
success down there. So
And so, you said Sharks were the place you wanted to go. Like, the Sharks have had a tumultuous last kind of, 6 years? And they did put some good footy together, over that time. But was it a genuine challenge for you coming to the Sharks? Were you like, this is going to be a challenge for me? I want to really lead a team to something good, kind of thing.
yeah, it's always looked, as I said before, a strong forward pack. I knew I was coming in behind a really strong forward pack to play.
Yep.
I knew they had some really good young kids coming through, and I thought I could contribute and add a little bit in the halves was what I thought they were probably lacking at times. So I just thought it'd be a good fit. I thought I knew they'd be successful. I probably didn't know exactly that it was going to work out this good.
This quickly as well.
Yeah, but I knew they were going to be a strong force,
Yep.
and that's what I wanted to be playing in a good side. So yeah.
And you got named Dally M58 of the year as well this year. Like, this year has been, like, you talk about breakout years and then other years. How is this compared to, your Roosters years were awesome, your minor premierships there. Like, you seem to, wherever you go, you seem to find a way to win, kind of thing. Whereas this year is like, feels like it's just like the icing on the cake of everything you've ever done. Is that what it kind of feels like? It's hard to say for yourself.
It does a little bit. It's, when you look back, 2013 was massive because I debuted in Origin.
Yep.
I won my first ever premiership, things like that. And then, you think this year, after losing my Origin spot, I was able to regain it. We went on, we won a comp, and then I got the Aussie Test jersey. It's probably a year that will struggle to be rivaled again, in terms of things you can tick off in 12 months, So, just been a massive year, and I suppose a lot of it comes down to, I think it was a good move for me. It was a fresh start, a new challenge. I think, I've always actually laughed. I've never actually re-signed consecutive deals at any club.
Oh, really?
3 years.
You're a slut, bro.
Beat me back, so I move on. But I think it's
You're a club slut.
pretty much.
Latsy.
Just racking them up.
You and Latsy.
Me and Tyrone Smith, I think, trying to catch Tyrone Smith. But
who's next? Bronx? You going to Bronx next? No,
Nah.
you couldn't go north. You couldn't go north.
Nah, go to France, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
Hey.
You in France.
Head over there.
You're talking about lifestyle. You're getting too content in lifestyles when you're younger. Fuck, gee.
Yeah. So what were we talking about before that?
I don't know. Oh, you just capping off like this year everything has come to a fall. You've worked so hard your whole career, but you've had so much success, but it just seems to keep rolling on. Actually, I think I made a video or a post about it during the year. It's like everywhere you go, you seem to be very successful. What do you reckon that is? Do you think it's just your competitive nature? Are you just
I think it's my knack of probably I think I can pick a good roster, basically, because obviously
because you've mentioned that a few times.
It's not
now,
me.
Yeah.
I can't single-handedly go and do
yeah.
anything. You know what I mean? So I think I've always, made sure I go somewhere. As I said, as a halfback with a strong forward pack. You know, it's something you need to be able to do well, and just identifying guys that have got a really good roster to be successful, and it's not something that comes on your own. It takes a lot of hard work, and a lot of others are involved in, me playing well, and I'm involved in helping them look good and play well, and I think I've always been able to. I've never gone to places and tried to come in and say, "Oh, this is how we play. This is how I want to play. This is what I do." I've always been conscious of sort of getting around the guys and go, "Okay, how do you like to play?" Especially guys on your edge and things like that. Find out how guys like to play, what plays they like to run, and sort of integrating and saying, "Okay, this is what I think I do well. This is the sort of things I'd like to run. We want." You know, we want you getting the ball how you want it, so you can do what you want to do, and all that sort of side of it. So I think I think probably one of my biggest strengths is probably reading the game and knowing the game, and I think I can work out, with our team, probably, work to our strengths.
Yep.
To bring out the best in that.
And the grand final this year, the kick that was, you kicked it 100% in the grand final. And also I think, was it the semi-finals there was a really crucial kick that got you a win leading up to the grand final. Do you remember that or not? Kicked from the sideline or something like that. Anyway, we'll just talk about the grand final one. The grand final, what was that like leading up? How did that compare to the Roosters? Was it very similar to the Roosters? But again, I thought there was so much hype, especially with the Sharks, because the 50,
100%.
There was so much hype, and I was like, I so wanted you boys to win because I just thought it was good for the game. I thought the game needed just Sydney clubs, Sharks. They struggled and they hadn't won in so long. What was it like for you that week? Kind of.
Yeah, it was good. And as I said earlier, it was something I was probably mindful of again. As soon as we got into it, I sort of spoke to Flano. I said, mate, we need to keep the week as normal as possible. Like I said, I've done it 2 ways, and I know how, especially with some young guys, as you said, the build-up around Cronulla. I'm pretty lucky. I'm living in Maroubra, so I haven't been down the Shire. So in that lead-up, I can only imagine the boys just going down to get a coffee or going whatever, and everything's just going nuts, and being up in Maroubra, I was sort of sheltered from that a little bit, which was good in the preparation because it was just normal for me. It was getting ready to play footy, and it kept that sheltered. But after it was all done, and I remember through the week doing media and everyone saying, obviously the history, it all comes out. It's such a big talking point, and I remember saying, the history is nothing to do with us as a group now. This team, we've had nothing to do with that history. That's all before us. That's a club and all that. For us, it's just about the opportunity to, win the ultimate prize and win a grand final.
Yep.
But I think on the field, I think the fact that it went right down to the last second.
Oh my God, man.
And I'm glad Ricky tackled him, because it's when they first shifted to the side and was it Vunivalu dropped under, I mistackled him. I could have dropped him right then. So I was like, and then it went back on the other side of the field. I was like, no, this will haunt me forever. Surely not. So then our boys all hightailed over, and then we come back and we finally shut it down. And then at the time, everyone was pumped. Obviously the ecstasy at that moment, you just go nuts. And then I think, on the field after then, I've seen guys like E.T. and that in tears and things like that. And I think that's when it sort of hit me, and I stood there and I said, mate, this is massive. That's where I sort of realised, this is...
How much it meant.
To so many people, not just what we've done, but, a guy like E.T. who'd done everything for the club, an absolute legend of the club, and how proud he was and how emotional he was of it. I was like, mate, this is big.
Guys like Gal as well.
100%. Old guys like the Gal, Mick, getting to go out like that.
Yep.
Gal, who, as I said, done a lot in the game and never had a premiership. All things like that. And, coming back, I remember getting on the bus driving out, and there were, fans on the street clapping us on, and, we sort of put the hairs on the back of your neck up, and, it was awesome. And then, mate, coming back in afterwards, she was
crazy,
proper crazy.
Didn't you use crowd surf in Northies?
Yeah, we did.
I seen Billy in Queenstown act like we ran into each other coincidentally.
Yeah.
And he reckons, he was saying he's all crowd surfed in Northies.
We went down on the Monday Arvo. We got down. We were sitting around the club and we'd done the fan day, and we're like, mate, let's get out and get down.
Be part of it.
Yeah, see it. And remember, we got dropped off just down the road here on the minibus, and we were just walking down, and cars, anyone that's seen us, cars are beeping, it's just going nuts. And we walked in, and we had our own little area roped off. And I remember Benny Barber saying, come down to the tab for a bet. And I was like, oh, yeah, sweet. Not really thinking. And we walked down, and like Norvies was chockers and the tabs at the other end, and we walked through, and it was dead set like a Mexican wave of cheers as we cruised through. Like they were just going nuts, and I was just looking at Benny going, "This is off its head, mate. This is all time." Like absolute rock stars. And had a ball, and then I think Damien Keogh or something said to me, he goes, "Let's get the trophy down here." And I said, bloody oath, let's go. So we called Lyle and that, said, "Mate, get that trophy down here."
Yep.
I remember we were sitting there on the beers, and Gal walks through. I just hear this massive roar, and Gal's walking through Northies with this trophy above his head. I was like, "Yes, this is the best."
Yep.
So we all went, and they went nuts. And so it was just after that, he basically walked in, and sort of the whole crowd just like swarmed, and he brought the trophy into our area.
Yeah.
And it was just chockers there, and I was sitting next to Gal, and I go, "Bro, I want to go crowd surf on him." I still remember all the, remember 97 when Knights won and Joey and that jumped off the bus and all that. And I was like, that's hectic. You never get the crowd surf
no
that.
way.
And I was like, "Buzz, I'm going to go jump on him." He goes, "Go do it." Sweet. And I ran across the thing, there's like a little table or lounge thing, and then I just went, whoosh, dived on, and then it become everyone. They all caught me, I sort of went. And then it just become like, we started getting everyone up, and the whole crowd, like we'd start one of the boys' names, and they'd all start chanting him name, and then they'd come up and go on. It just went nuts, mate. It was awesome.
That's sick.
It was really good times. So.
That is sick. So, oh man, I mean, there's so many things I want to ask you about that. On the field though, so when you missed that tackle, were you actively thinking, please God, like, don't let this happen?
100%. Because I would have never let it, never would have lived it down. It would have been in my head forever. And I remember I was like, oh no, and I looked up and they started moving the ball the other side.
It was looking on for all money.
100%. I was looking, I was like, mate, there's no one out there. Like it looked like half the field was empty.
Have you seen the picture? There's a picture,
and
it's like the angle, and it's circled. It's like 12 Cronulla players, and like 4 Storm players, and it's like the picture is saying this was before the ball was shifted, and yet somehow you boys
just
made it across.
I've seen glimpses of that bit, and the boys. I know Benny Barber was at fullback, and he started ripping across and actually come up into the line, and. And different
which could have
things.
been crucial.
Yeah, 100%. Massive efforts. I think, like there were big boys, like big middle boys that were busting. Like it was massive efforts from boys, and I remember like just going, no way, like this can't happen. Like it can't possibly. Life can't be this cruel, surely. And then when they sort of turned it back under and come back the other way, I actually thought we were sweet. I was back there and we sort of had our line, and I thought, we should be able to sort this out here. We'll be all right. And then, he went down. So,
man, then it just went up. Oh, what a win! What a victory! Okay, yeah. So, man, we've been going for an hour, so I apologise for that.
All right.
I ask all the boys this: favorite rapper of all time, if you're a rap man.
Favorite rapper. Not really a big rap man, but maybe we'll have to go Eminem. He's probably the only one I've sort of, when I was going through high school, I've got 8 Mile coming. It's probably the only one I know, really. So other than that,
Eminem,
or actually, I don't mind Ludacris, just how he does it. Luda. Oh, in his songs how he goes Luda. I reckon that's pretty cool.
Ludacris, that's the first Ludacris. Best prank in the, I guess, the history of your career that you've seen, witnessed, or been a part of?
Ooh.
That you can say.
Best prank.
I don't know if you watched it, but Hino's prank at the Tigers, he got stitched up by Bryce Gibbs. They got a hold of he left his email open accidentally, and they sent an email to David Garnsey saying, like, I'm so passionate about being the person for the representative for West Tigers, the rugby league players. I really want to be a part of this thing. I love what you're doing, rah. And so they sent the email off, deleted it all. Then David Garnsey come into the West Tigers. They had a team meeting, and Heino didn't know about it.
No idea.
And he's like, Heinington, I just want you to stand up for a second. I just want everyone to give Heinington a clap. He sent me one of the best emails I've ever seen in my life. I can't believe how much passion you have for the club and for the Rugby League Players Association. Come down here. I want you to be the representative of the West Tigers. And Heinington just copped it. He was like, oh, yeah, sweet.
Mate.
And he just was representative.
Ran with it.
Yep. So, like, any pranks like that? I mean, obviously not on that scale. It's epic as, but...
trying to think best pranks.
These other ones with like.
Jeez, I bet you once if I leave here.
You'll think of hectic ones.
Yeah,
you think it like. I'm thinking about it. I don't know whether I will, but like just like getting like 10 questions and just sending it to people before they come on.
Yeah.
Like that, just so they can be like, I've got it in my head,
and
I'll just bang it out. Yeah. Because like there's been some ones with like Tarek Sims I think was saying ones where like you put the power like water in the locker and like you sticky tape it or something so when people off it the Powerade comes out.
Oh yeah. Actually I remember one that used to be alright. Have you ever had the beta alanine?
Oh, beta alanine.
The thing that makes you like itch.
Yes.
So they used to like when we were at the Warriors after your training you used to have your Powerade or whatever and they'd put a bit in so every now and then you'd get the odd one, you'd get someone just go whack, like just
bro, that would be so uncomfortable.
They're just like itching or whatever, just losing
Fuck
it.
that, bro.
But I remember someone, so we used to get boys like that really good. I remember someone got me one day and I was driving home with Shawnee Johnson in the car and we were getting home and me like my ass and all that started itching. I couldn't even sit on the seat. I was like, oh, you bastards. Like, yeah, got me. And I was sitting there going, like, just in the car. Literally couldn't even sit down. My ass and everything's just tingling. So that used to always be not a bad one.
Beta alanine, if anyone's had that, knows that is so uncomfortable when you have too much. Like, so uncomfortable. Fuck, there's been some Denker... I think what is it called? Tiger Balm in undies. URT got some. They're good old Tiger Balm in undies.
See a few of them, the old DP or whatever.
Yeah, DP
on that. They throw it on and she starts for.
She's torture.
A few like that.
I was actually had Andrew Bogut on the show, and he was saying they go in America, the NBA, like to the rookies, they go like so far. They'll pour popcorn and fill your car up. They'll take your tyres off your car. They'll do hectic stuff like that. Fucking crazy. Favourite movie of all time?
Favourite movie of all time? Jesus, heaps. Maybe old school favourites. You know what I love? The Castle.
The Castle?
Yeah.
Oh, how's the Serenity?
The
trophy room?
Yes.
Straight to the trophy room.
It's going straight to the trophy room. So many one-liners. Like, I remember on tour actually we watched Chopper.
Oh,
that's a classic. That brought back so many things.
Yeah.
You know, movies like Braveheart or something, old classic.
Classic.
Yeah, heaps of those ones.
And if you could have a billboard anywhere saying anything, what would it be and where would it be?
A billboard. I'd probably place. I'd probably take where the Coke sign used to be in the cross.
Oh, that's a great spot.
That would be a wicked spot. That's
prime
like prime
real estate.
That's prime positive.
Oh, prime real. What are you having on that?
I don't know. I'd have to have me mug. Maybe I'd just have to promote. Like come up with like maybe me and me togs like some big stickers or something.
Just barbecue.
And just doing something. Yeah, but I can't leave the barbecue thing down, so I don't want to give it any more fire, so I couldn't have anything to do
Oh,
with
really?
it.
So you're trying to, like, push it away?
Trying to. Mate, it's gone nuts. So
yeah. What was that like for you? Because that would have been your first, like, experience into, like, mainstream, like...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I just sort of threw it out as a bit of a thing, and...
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if I had $1 for everyone, they'd come up to me, especially after Suzanne gets there, the barbecue, how's the barbecue? And I was like, mate, like, and the funny thing was, they like so many of them, like it was like they thought they were like so original, and
yeah.
doing it like that. They were like, oh, no, this is a cracker.
Like, bro,
I've heard it so many times, and they sort of do it, and I was like, they're like, I've been doing any barbecue lately. I was like, mate, basically you're saying, have you wanked lately? And I was like, who says that to someone?
Yeah, 100%. You know what you should have done though? As soon as it happened, you should have made shirts and sold them.
And sold it out.
Mate, and copyrighted that.
I think someone said, I don't know if it was true, but I swear someone said there may have been over in like Bali or in...
Really?
I don't know if it did, but I vaguely remember someone
Mate,
saying...
you probably could still do it.
Something.
And just stoke that fire again and make some money off it. Fucking hell. What's been the toughest time in your career? We've always spoken about the positive. What's been the toughest time?
Yeah, look, I've been pretty fortunate. Obviously, that the injury, the first injury I was talking about when I did my ankle, that was probably toughest time. Touch wood, it's been my only sort of serious injury I've had, so I've been pretty lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was only young and stuff like that. And then otherwise, probably on the field, like my toughest year was probably my last year at the Warriors. You know, we didn't go so well. That was the only year I missed playing semi-finals and things like that. And
the drama of signing 12 months before.
Yeah, that come up a lot, but I don't think that was it. But we had a few things. Had a new coach come in and changed a bit of how we played and stuff like that. And but yeah, I just think performance-wise, probably a year that I was a bit disappointed in, and if I could go back and change it or make it better, but I suppose you learn from that and stuff like that. And probably the biggest thing about that year actually that I still remember was that was the year Michael Luck retired, and we he just went out, we lost, it was 8 straight or something to finish, and he went out like that, and that hurt a little bit, for a guy that I had so much respect for, for him to go out like that.
And he gave his everything to every game.
That hurt me a bit.
I think that's it, bro. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it, man.
Sweet, mate. It was good fun.
Yeah, and good luck for the pre-season coming up in a few weeks for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mate, it's going to be tough. But thanks so much.
Too easy, mate.
What's up, guys? Looking to create a new account with William Hill? For the first $50 you deposit, you receive a $150 bonus bet or have your initial deposit matched. Inbox me for details.